It is absolutely brutal out there.
In order to get experience, you'd need a job. But in order to get that first job, you need experience.
A new warning on what you might be finding online. Hyper-realistic job hoaxes.
A fresh new report shows more than 10,000 jobs have been cut so far this year due to the rise of generative AI.
So far in 2025, U.S.-based employers have announced more than 800,000 job cuts, the highest number for this period since the pandemic-driven chaos of 2020.
806,000 Americans have already lost their jobs this year. That's more than all of 2024 combined.
The tech industry alone has been reshaped by the advancement of artificial intelligence, shedding over 89,000 jobs through July 2025, a 36% increase from the same period last year.
I'm a little bit more worried about the labor impact simply because it's happening so fast that yes, people will adapt, but they may not adapt fast enough.
However, despite a seemingly stable job market, a baffling contradiction emerges. The average corporate job posting now receives over 250 applications, creating a brutal funnel where only about 3% of applicants ever secure an interview.
When people get ghosted, right? When people are firing out 100, 200, 300, 400 cover letters and CVs and never really hearing back.
This digital Hunger Games for employment has a staggering entry cost, with the average job seeker now needing to submit between 100 and 200 applications just to land a single offer.
An employer right now can afford to be picky in hiring. They know plenty of applicants, really of all ages, are vying for each opening.
So, why is it so hard to get a job right now? The current crisis is the result of a perfect storm, a cooling job market colliding with a profound technological shift. Following the post-pandemic hiring boom, persistent inflation concerns and higher interest rates have forced companies to slow recruitment and slash budgets. This economic caution is amplified by the seismic disruption of artificial intelligence. In 2025, tens of thousands of job cuts have been explicitly attributed to AI implementation and automation. This has created a fiercely competitive environment where the unemployment rate for college graduates in AI-exposed fields is rising, and job growth in once booming sectors like cloud computing and web search has completely plateaued.
General Services Administration. I was going into a third-round interview with them around November, December, and that is when the federal hiring freeze took over.
For the modern job seeker, the application process itself has become an invisible wall. Nearly 99% of Fortune 500 companies use automated applicant tracking systems, or ATS, to manage the flood of resumes. This software acts as a robotic gatekeeper, scanning for precise keywords and formats, and it is brutally efficient. An estimated 75% of all resumes submitted to large companies are rejected by these systems before a human eye ever sees them. The system isn't looking for the best candidate, it's looking for the most algorithmically compliant one. This unforgiving digital filter means that even top-tier engineers and perfectly qualified applicants are systematically screened out for using the wrong file format or failing to guess the exact keyword phrases.
And landed prestigious internships, Tiffany at Apple and Jacob at a boutique private equity firm. And for both, it has yet to add up to a job.
However, the most fundamental flaw in this system is the rise of the ghost job, a position that a company advertises with no real intention of filling it. This practice is shockingly widespread. A 2025 survey revealed that 45% of HR professionals admit to regularly posting these phantom jobs. Another analysis found that about 1 in 5 jobs posted online is not real. Companies do this to create an illusion of growth, to keep their current employees feeling replaceable, or to passively collect resumes for future openings. For applicants, it creates a demoralizing mirage, a landscape of opportunity that is fundamentally deceptive and wastes countless hours of effort.
And the company says a review of its job postings on the platform found 1 in 5 of them, 20%, was indeed fake.
The human cost of navigating this broken system is immense and measurable. The psychological burden is severe, with a 2025 poll showing that 72% of job seekers report that the hunt negatively impacts their mental health. This prolonged struggle leads to a deterioration of skills for 41% of the unemployed and a significant loss of confidence for 34%. threat. It's a debilitating cycle of rejection and uncertainty that affects not only an individual's financial stability, but also their sense of identity and well-being, leading to what experts call job search burnout, characterized by deep frustration and anxiety.
I've tried to apply for jobs for like a year now, and just like most places like don't get back to me, or they just like say no.
This desperation metastasizes into a far more dangerous threat: job scams. As people become more vulnerable, criminals are capitalizing on the chaos. The Federal Trade Commission reports that job and employment agency scams are among the fastest-growing fraud typologies, with reported financial losses in just the first 4 months of 2025 already exceeding $2.7 million. These aren't just small-time phishing attempts. They are sophisticated operations designed to steal personal data for identity theft, or to lure victims into task-based scams that use cryptocurrency, which accounted for $41 million in losses in the first half of 2024 alone.
We've seen a huge increase in text job scams. We received over 9,000 reports in 2023, but more than 20,000 in 2024.
This systemic failure is ultimately rooted in a deep disconnect between corporate performance and workforce investment. In the 2024 fiscal year, corporate profits surged by a staggering 22.3%, yet employment grew by a mere 1.5%. Companies, even those with record revenues like Cisco and Oracle, continue to announce layoffs in 2025, citing efficiency and a pivot to AI. Understaffed and overwhelmed HR departments lean heavily on flawed, biased AI hiring tools, while a complete lack of regulation allows deceptive practices like ghost job postings to flourish. The system isn't just failing job seekers, it's actively working against them in favor of shareholder value and operational efficiency.
AI is doing 30 to 50% of the work at Salesforce now. And I think that will, continue.
But the ultimate escalation, the threat that redefines this entire crisis, is that we are witnessing the structural dismantling of entire career paths. This is not a temporary downturn. It is a permanent rewiring of the labor market, driven by artificial intelligence. The World Economic Forum's 2025 report reveals that 40% of employers expect to reduce their workforce specifically where AI can automate tasks. Analysts at Goldman Sachs now estimate that AI could displace 6% to 7% of the entire U.S. workforce once it is widely adopted. We are no longer talking about AI as a tool to assist workers, but as a force that is actively making entire job categories, especially white-collar entry-level roles, obsolete.
Microsoft announced 2 rounds of layoffs affecting up to 16,000 workers, partly driven by AI efficiencies.
The brutal reality of the 2025 job market is not a reflection of individual failure, but of a system in the throes of a violent transformation. It is the consequence of a cooling economy colliding with the ruthless efficiency of automation. Job seekers are forced to navigate a digital labyrinth where robotic gatekeepers discard the majority of resumes, and a significant portion of the visible opportunities are nothing more than corporate mirages. This process inflicts a real and damaging psychological toll, breeding anxiety and pushing the desperate into the arms of increasingly sophisticated criminals. All of this is unfolding against a backdrop of record corporate profits that are not being reinvested into human capital. The very engine of this disruption, artificial intelligence, is now poised to eliminate millions of roles permanently. The crisis is no longer about weathering a tough market. It's about confronting a future where the fundamental value of human work is being questioned. We are facing a stark and urgent question. In an economy optimized for automation, what is the new blueprint for a career, and who will be left behind?